Brooke Schofield is no longer holding anything back when it comes to the way that she talks about the situation involving her ex, Clinton Kane. And in the latest episode of the Canceled podcast, Brooke and Tana discuss Clinton's lies in even more detail than ever before. On top of that, Brooke turned her sights on radio host Zach Sang, calling him out for his role in all of this, and even declared her hatred for him. Yikes. There is a lot to talk about regarding this situation, so let's get right into it. Fans of the Canceled podcast have known about Brooke's past relationship with singer-songwriter Clinton Kane for quite some time, but it wasn't until an interview with her co-host Hannah Mojo on the Zach Sang Show aired in April of 2023 that many details regarding the reason behind Brooke's breakup with Clinton actually became public knowledge.
Is Brooke going to be talking to her ex-boyfriend on this show?
She's not here, so I'll say my piece.
I feel like I got to educate the class. In a nutshell, allegedly, Clinton Kane, who you may know from TikTok, wove together this entire narrative that he had lost his mother.
And there were a lot of comments.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of
It's where it all started.
When the subject of Clinton Kane was brought up to Tana in this episode, Tana made it clear that Brooke was not ready to talk about what went down between her and Clinton, but Zach had other plans in mind.
Brooke's not ready to talk about it, and it's her story for the most part. You know, I can say things I was a part of and I've seen, but that's her truth and her story. But I don't think he would know truth if it hit him in the face.
The full timeline of this story is pretty insane, but to keep things brief, Zach became involved in this whole situation way back in July of 2022, when Clinton went on the Zach Sang Show to promote his debut album. During this interview, Clinton talked openly about some really traumatic events in his personal life, including the supposed death of his parents and brother. Unfortunately for Clinton, the stories he told Zach were not quite adding up, and viewers immediately started to call Clinton out for lying about his accent, his upbringing, his nationality, and even the loss of his family. One viewer wrote, "I went to school with Clinton, and I know for a fact that he grew up in Brunei. I knew of his mom and brother back when I was younger, and I know for a fact that they are alive and well. Why make such a huge publicity stunt for fame when you could have gotten it with raw talent?" We now know that the public reaction to this interview is a big reason that Brooke really started to question things in her relationship with Clinton. But it wasn't until the interview between Zach and Tana aired, almost a year later, that Clinton's lies became widely known. But after Zach brought up the Clinton situation to Tana, Brooke felt pressured to share her side of the story too. During a tear-filled episode of the Canceled podcast a week later, Brooke finally broke her silence on the breakup with Clinton and shared many details about his lies during their time together, corroborating what Zach had mentioned on his show. Despite being frustrated at the time that Zach had made any of this public, Brooke separately sat down for an episode of the Zach Sang Show to discuss the situation in even more detail. This episode was teased online to fans, but everyone involved mutually agreed not to air the episode for Clinton's sake, a point which we'll get to later. In the year following this episode, Brooke would occasionally bring up additional details about her relationship with Clinton on other podcasts or in TikToks, but mainstream conversation regarding the breakup lightly died down over time. So if all of this happened over a year ago, why are we still talking about Clinton Kane in 2024? Well, in case you somehow managed to miss it, Clinton had the bright idea of posting a TikTok on the night of June 25th to promote his upcoming single. Clinton lovingly captioned the post, "When you've been over the relationship for 2 years, but she won't stop yapping," which was clearly a reference to his relationship with Brooke and the fact that she had talked about their time together publicly. There is truly so much to unpack about Clinton's post, which was obviously made as a way to drum up controversy and promote his single, but Brooke was not having any of Clinton's antics and instead responded with an explosive 14-part series on TikTok where she again exposed Clinton for lying about his age, his family, his nationality, and many other things during their time together, while he simultaneously cheated on her the entire relationship. I could not possibly fit everything Brooke shared on her TikTok into this video, but if you aren't one of the millions of people who have already watched the series, you should definitely give it a watch because it is crazy what she went through, and the story is honestly very entertaining. The internet has been having a field day now that all of this information about Clinton has resurfaced, leading to thousands of comments and videos on TikTok and YouTube discussing the situation, including the re-upload of Zach's initial interview with Tana on the official Zach Sang Show channel. Now, believe it or not, this is where things get even spicier. Fans have been anxiously awaiting the return of the Canceled podcast following Brooke's series on TikTok, expecting that she and Tana would continue to discuss everything in a new episode, and fans were certainly not let down. In their July 9th episode, Brooke and Tana fully rehashed Clinton's perpetual lying, and even delved into how Brooke had tried to help Clinton come clean about his lies before the end of their relationship. According to Brooke, Clinton admitted to her that he had lied about the death of his mother and also completely made up the death of another mother figure in his life to cover up the initial lie.
I was trying so hard to just help him get out of the situation months and months after we broke up. But when it came out, no one, either people didn't believe me or people were like, just didn't care. He's just doubled down and dug himself into this hole of lies and made it so much worse.
And then he comes online on his Instagram and he posts him writing on a napkin that it wasn't his mom that he killed off. It was his mother figure who truly died.
It was laughable. It wasn't obviously a real thing because I knew her name. Like, he would tell me her name and he would tell me such like explicit detail, the details of how she died, which would change all the time, by the way. My bad for not noticing. It doesn't matter. The point he was trying to make was that he lost an irreplaceable mother figure, which non-existent, by the way.
Untrue.
Furthermore, Brooke shared that she tried to warn multiple members of Clinton's management team about his lying, but Clinton would fire any member of his team who learned the truth about his situation, so it took a long time for anyone to actually learn the truth.
I was afraid to tell anyone on his team. I was afraid to tell because I was like, again, I didn't want anything bad to happen to him, but I begged him. I'm like, please just tell at least like your manager.
But the second that people know, he just fires them.
Yeah, it's happened 17. He's had 17 managers in a row. I begged him to tell his team. He wouldn't tell them, but I remember I put them all in a group chat and I said, check it out. I sent them screenshots of him literally saying to me, like, I'm going to fix this, like admitting that they're alive. And they all ghosted me, literally. And it wasn't until months later, I kept getting like one person at a time who would reach out to me and be like, I'm so sorry, like, you were right. But it was like nobody supported me in the moment.
Because it's so unbelievable that like you don't want to
and
believe
he's so good at it that they all really did think I was that crazy.
Later in the podcast, Brooke took shots at Zach Sang, and she did not mince her words when it came to discussing her feelings about him. Brooke called out Zach explicitly for how he tried to capitalize on the story of her own relationship, how he discussed the Clinton situation against her wishes, and how he refused to ever apologize. Brooke quite literally said that she hates Zach and that she thinks he is a horrible clout-chasing person, so I think it is safe to assume that she won't be going back on his show anytime soon.
I posted my series, and the very first person to jump on the bandwagon was Zach Sang. The first initial time that I ever addressed the Clinton situation on this podcast was in my Marianne episode, and I'm sitting here right here on this couch in my ponytail crying, okay? And I regret in that episode how I handled Zach Sang. I'll tell you why. He is horrible. Zach Sang is horrible. I had support from my friends, okay? But Zach Sang was my friend, and he could not resist the urge as a journalist to be the one to share the story, okay? And I remember even was sitting down with him on that couch when I was like so hysterical. He kept saying to me, we're gonna sell this as a show, Netflix documentary, Anna Delvey style, like we. Nothing happened to Zach Sang. It really infuriated me how much he made like the situation like
about him.
If it was us and we were in it together, then why were you not on my team? And why were you so quick to put that story out knowing how bad it was going to affect me? You know why? Because you were an opportunistic, clout chasing, I'm sorry.
No, I mean,
piece of shit, honestly. He knows better. I hate him.
That's crazy.
Apparently, even a year after his initial interview with Tana went live, Zach is still attempting to shop the idea of a show about Clinton's lies to studios, all without ever even texting Brooke. Now, Zach Sang isn't necessarily a celebrity or an influencer, but he is pretty well known in the space, and this is not the first time that he has been called out for his interviewing tactics and interactions with influencers. In literally just the last month alone, I've seen Zach be called out for asking inappropriate questions during his interview with Tara Yummy and for not doing enough research before his interview with drag queen Trixie Mattel. Zach honestly deserves a video of his own at this point, so comment below if that's something that you would like to see. Unsurprisingly, fans have a lot to say about everything involving Brooke, Clinton, Tana, and Zach. One fan wrote, I'm in my mid-30s and me and my besties still talk about the guy who fakes an Australian accent for like a month for no reason in college. 18 years later, we still talk about him. Keep yapping, girls. People also did not hold back when talking about Zach Sang. Proud of you for calling Zach Sang out, Brooke. His behavior is slimy as heck, and I hope this episode ruins his week. Zach Sang reposting the clips of Tana talking about Clinton Kane the day after Brooke's TikTok series is another confirmation of how horrible of a person he is. Zach Sang trying to sell a Clinton Kane documentary is crazy, My mouth dropped. Never watching that man again. Fans are clearly Team Brooke all the way in this situation, and I honestly don't know how you couldn't be, but I personally just can't believe that Clinton had the audacity to bring up Brooke. Even if it was just to get some promotion out of a controversy, it just seems like he really has convinced himself of an alternate reality at this point. Everything Brooke said about Zach Sang is also pretty shocking to me, so I would love to hear what you guys think about everything involving this situation. Do you think Clinton will ever come clean about his lies? How do you feel about Zach Sang trying to profit off of Brooke's trauma? Let me know in the comments below because I would love to hear all of your thoughts. I will continue to keep you guys posted if anything else happens between Brooke, Clinton, and Zach, but that's all for now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.